What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. I just want to focus in a little bit more on what the trade market for Evander Kane looks like. There's been a lot of teams linked to him. Montreal is one of them. Obviously, the Boston Bruins. I talked about ad nauseum. Pittsburgh and Anaheim have thrown their names in the ring as well. The one thing with both those teams is the salary cap. I don't see that working out. And I talked about in the previous piece with those two teams. If he didn't listen to Andrew Ladd and Dustin Byfuglien, I know Sidney Crosby and Ryan Getzlaf are both better than those two aforementioned players, but who's to say he's going to listen to either one of those guys? And I just think it's kind of a weird situation. I think hockey-wise, Vancouver could be a great fit for him, and maybe going home, where he's obviously from Vancouver, played for the Giants, won a Memorial Cup up there, could be a good fit for him. But at the same time, we've seen him screw up too many times where it's like, all right, is sending him back to Vancouver the best option? That's a question you got to ask. I mean, this is a guy that scored 30 goals at age 20 in the NHL. That's shown, he can play a power forward game and really give you a whole, great dynamic to your offense. But he's been kind of a cancer in the locker room. And I think as much as you need a veteran presence in your locker room with a guy like this, who's to say he doesn't still poison the well? I mean, it's kind of a tough situation here with him. And again, as much as I love him as a player, that his off the ice antics have kind of gotten old. And to give up a lot for him would be a risk. And I mean, I think for the first time well, there's not, I've been saying it for years, but I think everyone else is starting to realize that his time in Winnipeg is up. I saw the writing on the wall 2.5 years ago, and people, oh no, they won't trade. Big, it's like no, you can see where it's a dead end, relationship. And I knew this day was gonna come. I knew the end of his time in Winnipeg was gonna happen eventually. I don't see them moving him before the trade deadline, obviously because he's hurt. You can move a player into reserve. You just have to have the full disclosure of medical records and all that stuff, and that's a given. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think teams are going to wait till he's more healed up, closer to the draft, and I think it's in Winnipeg's court because teams aren't going to what kind of activities going to want at the deadline. Teams are looking for either a young player in return for a veteran as they sell, or a veteran player to help them down the stretch. Right now, Kane is going neither one of them. You just trade him for guys going to help you next season. We're supposed to at the draft. I think every team in the league will at least I think most of the league will put a call in and say gauge the market and see, all right, is he worth trading for? What do we have to give up? Can our locker room handle it? Stuff like that. And I said it last year. If the Bruins could have swung a deal and got him last year in that locker room with Zdeno Chara, with Jerome McGinley last year, don't forget, Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci, obviously even Milan Lucic, who we played with the Vancouver Giants, what kind of, impact could that have? That'd be an interesting scenario. But obviously now, a little bit different. But I mean, I think you could still fill the void on that, first line right wing spot. If you move him over, I know he's playing predominantly on the left, but I'd love to see what he could do. As a power forward, call him into Lucic. You put the two of them on the same line with David Krejci. That'd be a pretty interesting combination. So we'll see what happens. But again, I love him as a player. Definitely one of my favorite guys in the NHL. I love the power forwards. He was named for Evander Holyfield, for God's sake, and he one punched Matt Cook, so he'd be a fan favorite in Boston before he puts on the supposed to be. But definitely a situation to keep an eye on. I'd love to see where he ends up. I think the Kings will definitely be inquiring about him. I think LA is going to be different look, really different looking team next year. I mean, I think Doughty, Quick, and Kopitar will remain the same, but there could be a lot of other changes going on with LA, and I'll talk about that as the season goes on. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's all I got this episode of the Power Play with CJ on the Evander Kane market. Stay tuned for more episodes for the season and beyond. Later, guys.